What has God already said? What keeps me up at night? And what can only I do? If I look at that middle spot where all three connect, right there in the middle, what has God already said? What keeps me up at night? What can only I do? If I get right in that middle spot, I say, okay, now I have discovered. If I ask these three questions, if I get to that middle spot, now I've discovered when it comes to this topic, here's God's plan and purpose for my life. Now, here's the thing that I've discovered, I continue to discover this, is that at some point in the past, personally, I started to ask some of these questions, and there are things often that keep me up at night, and I start to think about this, and how does this move us forward as a church, and those different things, like that's part of the equation. And what happens is we ask these questions, we get in seasons of our life where we're really on task and we're really focused. And we say, God, I believe I've discovered what you have for my life. Let me go on and try to accomplish that mission. But then life hits. Distractions start to pull us away from that. And so not only do I have to ask myself these questions one time in my life to figure out, God, what do you have for me? But then it's a monthly, if not a weekly thing, to say, God, I know that you have a plan and purpose for my life. And I believe that I'm in the process of discovering what that plan and purpose is. I'm working towards that plan and purpose. But God, today there have been 100 things competing for my attention. There are things like my microphone cutting out on me. Things like my dad giving me a phone call in the middle of a sermon. Or Heath running out like the building was on fire. Or guys pouring, I don't even know what it is, shavings all over my back. It's so easy for you and I to be distracted. Especially if we never figured out from the very beginning. God, what is your plan and purpose? See, because as much as I believe that God has a plan and purpose for your life, for every one of us, if you are a follower of Jesus today, God has a specific plan and purpose for your life. As much as I believe that, I believe it also says in the Gospel of John, there's an enemy out there that seeks to steal, to kill, and to destroy us. And he would want nothing more than to keep us off task. And the greatest way he can do that is by never allowing us to know what the task is. See, if you're wired like me, once I figure out what the task is, I want to attack that task with a relentless passion. Like sometimes I want to get ahead, sometimes even get ahead of what God has for me. I say, God, I believe this is where we're supposed to go. Let's go. And God has to say, wait a minute, Jay, just slow down. Work on my timing. But once you and I figure out what the task is, we want to approach that task with a relentless passion. So the enemy says the greatest way I could stop the task or distract the task is by never allowing them to discover what the task is in the first place. Now, it's not that other distractions won't come. They will. We'll deal with those next couple of weeks. But way before that, when we're first trying to discover God's purpose for our life, what is it I'm supposed to do? The enemy says, man, if I could get them off track right now, if I could get them to be off focus and not realize first that God loves them, that Jesus died in their place for them, if I keep them off task of discovering what that purpose is, then I have a greater chance of, for him, having success. For us, that'd be a failure. And so right now, as we begin this series, my prayer for you, and we're going to pray this right now, as you do about saying, God, what is your plan and purpose for my life?